Greta Morgan. Give her a hand.
Thank you.
Well, 2014 has arrived, so Happy New Year, everybody. And last Sunday, if you were here, we welcomed the new year in by doing a visioning. And the visioning was for our personal intention for this new year. And today and every Sunday this month, we are looking at ways of being and showing up in the world that will assist us in our individual intention and in the collective intention. Because we're in an upward revolution around a spiral evolution. That's how the universe works. Spiral, I've been saying that a lot this month. So. I better get it right. So I want us to begin this time this morning in a way that I sometimes use in talks, and in this way I want to set the tone for the entire month and really the entire year by taking a mental journey. And what better way to do this than on the first Sunday of the year? The first Sunday of the year. So we're setting with our visioning last week, and if you weren't here, it's on YouTube, under my name. You can vision along with your pencil and your paper right there. So I'm going to invite you to close your eyes and take a really deep breath. And see in your mind's eye a calendar. You know the kind that sits on a desk? It's like a 4x4 desk calendar that shows the entire month. Well, this month, January 2014, is showing, so tear that off. Then see and tear off February 2014. Then March of 2014, and just keep doing that until you reach January of 2015. And leave that sheet up on your calendar. So you are now in January 2015, and you and all of humanity have taken one upward revolution around the evolutionary spiral. You have a greater awareness of who you are. You have a greater understanding of how life really works. You have an expanded consciousness, and you are living in harmony with the greater good that is always available. So from this perspective, take a look at your outer life. Get some images of the circumstances, your situation, the world in which you live in. And see yourself living the life you desire to live in the world you desire to live in January 2015. It's like 1 year from now. Get a really good, vivid picture of it. These loving relationships, physical well-being, financially abundant, living your life on purpose, which is a conscious decision-making process, living your life on purpose. Who are you and what are you doing? And now as you remain inside, check out your internal landscape. and notice how you feel about yourself. Now, what does the larger world around you look like? Now that all of humanity has evolved. What does the world look like? 2015. And how are you relating to one another? And so take a couple of deep breaths and see your calendar pages returning to their original order. So December 2014 returns, November 2014 returns, October, all the way back to January 2014. And you are back here in this room, in this moment. So ground yourself in that knowing that you are rooted in this substance of infinite possibilities. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. You know, it was a quick meditation, but how many of you saw a better world? Yes? And if you didn't, I would say you need to see a practitioner and get some prayer. Because today and every Sunday this month, we're going to look at ways of being, ways of showing up in the world that will cause us individually and collectively to take an upward revolution. Remember, we're revolving and evolving in the spiral upward pull. That is the way spirit operates. That's the way God works. And so us being these perfect creations of this infinite intelligence, that is our natural way of being. To become more, to spiral upward, And you are here right now on the ground floor. This is the starting point. Right now, well, it is the starting point. It's a perfect name, too. Perfect name. So in the foreword of Andrew Cohen's book, Evolutionary Enlightenment, Deepak Chopra wrote, "There has never been a better time to be enlightened." And I will add another concept to that. There has never been a better time to be a catalyst for the enlightenment of humanity. And that is why we're here every week listening to these messages, doing the spiritual work that we do, so that we can be a catalyst for healing on this planet. That is our purpose. That is our joy. That is our mission as light bearers. So I heard a statement that I thought was pretty apropos for this talk, and is, if your goal does not cause you to shake in your boots, it's not big enough. It's not big enough. Now, I'm not preaching about fear. I'm not saying that. But sometimes it is uncomfortable when we stretch. But how do we grow? Unless we step out of those familiar little tight circumstances and boxes that we've put ourselves in and stretch a little bit. That's how we grow. That's how we evolve. And so it can be a little challenging. It can be a little scary to step out into what we call the unknown. We know there's no such thing in the mind of the divine, but in our experience as humans, it feels that way. So we're stretching so that we can expand more. So here's the deal. We're either going to be part of humanity's problem, or we're going to be part of humanity's solution. That's the thing that we need to know, solution. And obviously, you do that because you saw in your imagery, in your vision, hopefully in your meditation, something a little brighter, a little better. Because remember, the natural upward evolution. Individually and collectively, we want to be part of the solution, yes?
Yep.
Yes. So this month, we're going to take a very big a very big look at this picture. And we're going to maybe deepen our understanding of our role in this evolution of consciousness, because everything's consciousness. This we know, and scientists are now proving what Ernest Holmes has been speaking of for many, many years. Everything is consciousness. So is understanding what that truly means in our individual and then collective mind. In Evolutionary Enlightenment, Andrew Cohen writes, the very desire to embark on a path of enlightenment is already the beginning of enlightenment, because the path and the goal are one. Like the journey and the destination are all one. So this statement echoes Scripture, where it says, before they call, I will answer. Before I call, before they call, I will answer. Ernest Holmes wrote in Science of Mind, we come to understand then that the answer to prayer is in the prayer when it is prayed. The belief of one praying sets in motion the law of love, which is the fundamental law of the universe. Inherent in our desire to evolve then is the ability to evolve. Just in our desiring it, stating that strong intention, inherent in the impulse to go higher and deeper level of our understanding of who we really are, how life really works, how it gets to be the way it does, and what in life really matters is a higher and deeper understanding of the spirituality that we talk about, that we study, that we read, that we're inspired by these quotes. We have inspirational readings every morning, so a lot of us. Oh, it's coming at us in all different ways, so it's understanding and deepening into what that really means for us. It's inherent. If it weren't already there, we wouldn't desire it. How about that? If it weren't already present, omnipresent, the omnipresence of the divine. So if it weren't already there, we wouldn't even desire. But we're always desiring in a good way to learn more, to be more, to show up as love in life, as peace. A little peace in our life. Who wants a little peace in their life? Yeah, that's always good. So we don't live in a world where God dangles a carrot in front of us and says, here, I want you to desire this, but there's no way you can experience it. We don't live in that. But sometimes our human mind might lead us into that kind of thinking. That's not the way it works. Remember, before I pray, before I ask, I will answer. So the asking is the prayer. So before you even pray, it is done according to your belief. That's the part that we need to check ourselves on, according to your belief. So how cool is that to know that the desire you have in your heart to be the person that you envisioned a few moments ago, living in a world that you envisioned a few minutes ago, already exists. It already is here. So this month we're going to talk about the conscious decision to walk the talk. It's nice to read these uplifting readings and affirmations and all these different spiritual practices that we have, but to walk, to actually use it. That's what that's about, to actually use it in our life. It's not just talking about the desire to evolve, it's walking the path of evolution. That's what we're going to be doing this month. We're going to be walking the path. So Cohen writes, we have within us an evolutionary impulse to move forward. That impulse is the same uninhibited impulse that bursts forth as the Big Bang. When that impulse is expressed at the higher level of consciousness, it is the inspiration that pulls us toward a spiritual liberation and enlightenment. And he talks about, in his book, the 5 tenets of evolutionary enlightenment. So today we're going to explore the first one. And that's the clarity. One of my favorite qualities, spiritual qualities, is clarity. The clarity of intention he talks about. And so what I mean about this clarity of intention in this context is that as good New Thoughters that we all are, we know the power of intention. Right? Mm-hmm. We know how powerful our really strong thoughts are. They create. And we know that we must be clear in our intention. The clearer we are, that is the impress that the law receives. So clarity is huge, and that's his first tenet. We can't let our intention be set and then be distracted or doubted. Because then we manifest confusion, and it's all over the place. And you know this, you've experienced it. So yes, we know the power of clarity of intention, but it's to keep focused on and holding that strong intention that you want to live in your life. And this tenet is not speaking of clarity of any intention. It is talking about the clarity of a very, very specific intention. The intention to evolve, to become more of what we already are and to become more of it. So I would say, think the happy thought. Set the joyful intention. More joy, more peace, more love, more abundance, more prosperity, more health, more of those strong things because they're present. So the intention to evolve then, clarity of intention to respond to that evolutionary impulse within us, is to take that upward turn on the spiral of beingness. We are being, spiraling upward. When we closed our eyes earlier, we focused on our own desires and our experiences a year from now. Did anyone imagine a life worse than they have right now in your imagination? Okay, good. That's very good. Because that impulse in you is really a positive force. That authentic self is really a positive, uplifting force for good. All it wants us to do is to recognize it and to move forward, upward. We are supported by this power. And our interest in spiritual evolution comes from that part in us that is only interested in becoming more conscious. Setting your intention on your own innate desire to evolve will allow you to see, maybe for the first time, to really see the difference between your authentic self's desire and then that ego self, which can be conditioned hesitation, it can be doubt, stubborn refusal to let go of the past or the old, stubborn refusal to move into something new. That's why this takes courage. This takes courage. So I'm going to give you 5 warning signs right now that may suggest the ego's limited perspective and desire to stay where you are rather than to evolve. Okay, see if any of these fit. First one, being overly concerned about how you appear to others. How often are we motivated by wanting to look a certain way in someone's eyes? And I just don't mean physically, I just mean behaviorally or in whatever way that we want to look different. We do things and say things that aren't really aligned with who we really are. The truth, our authentic self. Have we got in touch with that authentic self, or have we left it behind? Have we forgotten? Have we so covered it up? But we'll do that so that we're liked and accepted. This is coming from a place in us that doesn't think that we are already okay, that we are already divine, whole, and perfect. That's where that's coming from. And That place, my friends, is pure ego. It's not your divine self. Because your divine self doesn't see anything wrong with you. Your divine self loves you just the way you are. It's our perception. That's our perception. We know who we are, and we can stand firm on it when we deepen into that true self. So our first touchstone for seeing if you are knocked off your clarity of intention then, to evolve, is that you are overly concerned about how other people interpret who you are. And second is that you are easily offended. You ever find that? Oh my gosh, I'm so sensitive. Everything offends you because it's your perception of what's coming in. No matter what topic, no matter how justified you may feel, that offense is real. That person said something, and you took it in, perceived it, and wow, you are offended. And that feeling is a feeling of separation. It's a feeling of division, and a feeling that comes from ego. We're doing the 4 Agreements class right now. Don't take anything personally, we did last week. Wow, that's always like the biggest one in the 4 Agreements. Don't take anything personally. The authentic self will discern and have preferences, yes, it will. But it will guide you internally, and it will feel right. And you can then lovingly act on those preferences. But it will not be offended. The divinity in you will not be offended. So if you're offended by anything, you are not supported by your own evolution or the evolution of mankind. If you're offended in anything, it is not your authentic self that is being expressed there. It is the ego that's being expressed. The third way of seeing if you're limited is you believe my way is the only way, and it's the right way. Is there anything else that needs to go along with that? I'm sure that some of us maybe have experienced that. It's about control. Like, this is the way it goes. It doesn't go any other way. I'm not open and receptive to any change. And so that can keep us really blocked. So the fourth one is you are constantly comparing yourself to others. It's okay to be inspired by others, to have mentors and role models, people that will maybe take you a step higher than you've been. That's a wonderful thing. That's a great gift. It helps us grow and evolve when we are inspired, but not when we're trying to be like someone else, because we can't be like anyone else but ourselves. So by comparing ourselves to other people, well, that person's this and I'm this and that, that's the ego's way. That's the ego's way. And it's so ego-driven to compare ourselves with others. And when you find yourself going into that, just be grateful for what is right now in your life. Be grateful for who you are in your life. No matter with all the warts and whatever it is that you have judged about yourself, just loving yourself the way you are right now. Finally, if you have stepped off the clarity of intention path, is number 5, if you dwell in the low energy vibrations, emotions dwell. The emotions such as sadness, anger, grief, depression, regret. And notice I didn't say you have stepped off of clarity. I just said you have maybe dwelled in it a little too long, and everyone has a right to their emotions and to feel them. And we're human beings. We're going through this human experience, and we will have these times in our lives. And it's okay to feel them. It is not, however, okay to stay in them for the rest of your life. Go through the natural grief process, the natural sadness, whatever that is. That's perfectly fine. I've heard it, but I remember having this quote: when you're going through hell, don't stop and build a condo. keep going. You don't want to hang out and live there. So we are off track when we stay in those emotions, when we really stay in them way too long. And instead of just getting the lessons and then moving on, moving forward. And it takes as long as it takes. Okay, so we're going to honor that and be gentle with ourselves when we're going through stuff. The truth is that when we're not connected to Source, when we are in touch with our authentic self, our normal way is joy and happiness. When we're connected to Source energy, to God itself, that's when we feel the peace, the joy, the happiness. That's when we know that we are in touch with our authentic self. So you have 5 tangible, powerful ways for us to touch in and check to see if we're out of alignment with our specific, clear, we're talking about clarity, intentions. And if we've gotten off track, just pull ourselves gently back. Remember what it is. That's why we did the visioning. We gently and lovingly pull ourselves back. So I receive daily, and I know a lot of you too, daily inspirational messages by via email from Reverend Mary Morrissey. So I'm just going to read one that was on there a while ago. She wrote, "How important it is for all of us to really set our clearest intentions. Jesus said, ask, seek, and knock. Those are intentions. To ask, seek, and knock are intentions on our part. The universe then opens. The universe responds. The universe arranges. As we trust this day that if we do our part, the universe delights to do its part." And Mary Morrissey is the author of the Prosperity Plus series, and we're moving on to number 2 in January, in a couple of weeks. So I'm very excited about that. But for now, let's go back. Let's go back to how we started this morning when we went into that. So I asked you briefly, just to close your eyes, just for a second, and go back to that vision of you in 2015. Just feel it. Get an image of it again. See it in your mind's eye. Feel it. Set the mental equivalent of it. Okay, in this commitment to our own evolution, you can open your eyes now. It's just to get just so you don't want to forget those. Remember, the law responds to pictures. So having that imagery, our imagination is a powerful faculty that we all have. Use it, because the law responds to it. It doesn't know if something's real or not. That's why the as-if stuff really works. Act as if. Because the imagination is creating. So imagine the good life, the happy life, the one that you are entitled to. Evolve into it. Evolve into it. You may, sometimes in this commitment to your own evolution, you may well experience a sense of liberation, a sense of empowerment. These are good feelings. And a high resolve to bring forth this reality that you've just pictured. And to commit to following the divine guidance that will bring you into walking the talk, the actions. So it's keeping fresh the high resolve. Keeping fresh this moment of my high resolve to be the catalyst for the evolution of myself and of humankind as a whole. And that is the strongest intention we could ever carry out, hold, and be. So it is.